represented. And that's not just the main issue. The main issue is how much money you're spending paying them. I told my friends here, and everybody was laughing. They're like, only our country can accept that form of structure. I mean, I live in the US. We only have 50 governors. Why do you have 47? I mean, just the governors themselves and the deputies is costing you $13 billion a year to just sustain for 47 of them. Senators, the same thing. You have 47 of them. Now in Atlanta, they even have nominated 20 of them. They're costing you $4.8 billion. Then not to forget the MPs. You have 290 and 12 nominated. These people are costing $8 billion, 8 billion Kenyan shillings, sorry to say. The women reps. Why do you need women reps? I agree with this lady. It's toxic femininity. You don't need women reps. At some point, we have to decide that we want infrastructure. We want to divert our money to infrastructure, to schools, to hospitals, not paying salaries for people who obviously have failed the system. 14 years of having these people, what has materialized of them being in office? Nothing. So let's downsize to 8. Let's basically downsize. Less is more. You do not need representation. I don't care for people who are saying you need women, you need a man and a woman being voted in. No, you need one person representing you that you have voted in yourself, and they're the ones who are capable of leading you, and you're able to hold them accountable. All these people, there is no way you will be able to. Even if you have the FBI on the ground, nobody. You won't be able to police them. They're all panya routes and routes, and they're just all exit signs of stealing money from you. I really empathize with what the doctor was saying because I work in healthcare too myself here. It's pretty sad that majority of the revenue collected in Kenya is going to pay politicians in office. So that is my last submission. But yes, I agree with Eric Omondi. Eliminate all these people. Even in the future, we get to a place where Kenya is stable economically, we don't have debt, people are getting paid. So there's no reason to be spending billions and billions on politicians when teachers are not getting paid, doctors are not getting paid, hospitals are not running. There are no jobs. So why are we creating jobs for them? Anyway, thank you so much for the time.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Valid questions. Another news. Kenya's external public debt dropped by 939 billion in the 6 months to June 2024 as the shilling appreciated against major foreign currencies. So, as we continue the discussion, mjue tunaweza reduce hii kitu. Teacher. And before teacher goes on to speak, that is Fanuel Simiyu. Back in the COVID days, I had to take the COVID vaccine. Tafakari ya babu. Teacher, Fanuel, go ahead and speak.
Hello, sijui kama mnanisikia? Nasikia kweli? Ni kama hakuna mtu ananisikia. Oh, sawa. Mimi nitaanza hivi. Hii mambo ya overrepresentation inafaa tufikirie vile hii IBC kwanza. Wacha nianze hivi. Inafaa tuanze kuweka pressure watengeneza IBC. Wakishatengeneza IBC hii wanyama wanaongelanga akisema tunaweza. Tufikirie kama tunaweza itengeneza ikuwe kama ni kitu moja kwa structure moja. Ndio sasa tuweke forces pamoja na tuanze kurecall our MPs wetu. Ndio kwa sababu tupate ile support. Kama sisi huku, unajua mimi niko Bungoma, ward inaitwa Msihu ward. Huku Msihu ward hauwezi, yani barabara ni mbaya, lakini ukienda kwa neighboring wards barabara ni safi sana. So ndio sasa sisi kama watu wa Msihu tu recall MCA wetu, twende tufanye election. Watu kama Webuye West tu recall mbunge wetu, tufanye election, kwa sababu mbunge wetu sisi mbunge wapiti kura, tunapigia mtu mwingine anafanya ile kitu, anapita. Akishapita maisha yanakuwa mbaya kama kawaida. Tukimaliza hivyo tulicall hata governor. Bungoma, sijui watu wa Bungoma huwa tunakaa aje. Tukatoa Wangamati tukarudisha Lusaka. Lusaka ni mtu mwenye anakuja kuchanga pesa yake yenye alitumia ku campaign 2013. Ndio hiyo anachanga saa hizi pesa yenye ametumia afanye maendeleo. Huyu jamaa anakula tu, ukisikia timaua 25 million, miti sijui 25 million. Hakuna kitu yenye sisi tuna benefit kutoka kwa wase. Alafu nasikia sasa msee anatuambia 2027 anapigia Wangamati. KOT inafaa tuanze kufanya civic education huku Bungoma. Kwanza wewe ni mtu wa Bungoma, niliona unataka kusimama. Tuanze kuambia watu wajue kura yako ni maisha yako na pesa zangu ni taabu yako. Mimi nikichanga pesa nikuletee, nimetafuta pesa, nimetafuta marafiki, tumechanga, nikasema sasa unajua mimi naenda kusimama kiti. Nikishapita ndawarudishia, ndawapea tenda, mtafanya tenda fake, nawapea barabara mtalima, mnaanza kurudisha pesa zenyu. Hakuna siku tutaipata maendeleo. Lakini tukiambia watu kura yako ni maisha yako, hakuna mtu mwenye atapiga kura vibaya, kwa sababu anajua ukipiga kura vibaya barabara yako itakuwa tumbaya au utakuwa unapita kwa barabara. Sasa inafaa tufanye civic education, wase wajue. Alafu kuna msema ameongelea story na kufanya action, kwa sababu tunapeana solution tu. Unajua huwezi fanya action bila strategy, na hiyo strategy ndio sasa solutions. Inafaa tukishaweka watu machungu, watu wanajua vitu ni mbaya. Kama juzi nimekuwa Nairobi, napita CBD naona maji ina leak. Daraja mtoni imejitengeneza town. Hiyo ndio wasiri inafaa watu wakuwe nayo, ndio tukisema sasa mbaya inakuwa tu mbaya. Sina vitu mingi za kuzungumza, acha nirudi hapo kwa listeners, alafu maybe ndachangia baadaye.
Okay. Acha niongee kidogo kwa sababu pia ushaongea na tunatoka wote Bungoma County. So bana, huko nyumbani we having a lot of issues, of which Lusaka was elected in 2013, the beginning of the devolution. Then aka work for one term. Then after working for one term, jamaa wakaona huyu jamaa ni mbaya sana, wakaamua kuleta Wangamati. Wangamati have been there for another term. Jamaa wakaona hapana, hata we better just have Lusaka back than Wangamati, because Wangamati was doing now the worst, yani kulingana venye walikuwa nafikiria. And now today people think now Lusaka is so bad, they want to bring back Wangamati again. So we are wondering the kind of leadership we are having. Lusaka recently ametumia 25 million kuweka maua ya Madaraka Day. And before that, during his first term in office, alinunua mawheelbarrows. Wheelbarrow tunanuanga 5,500, alinunua na 110,000. And you know that, yeah? I was talking about the road. Is not a major road, it's a minor road though, but it connects Kimilili constituency to Bungoma County. Hii njia ya kupita from Kimilili, Bokoli, na Londo, Sikata, alafu ingie Bungoma. Bana, hiyo njia Wangamati okay, ni njia amongst the roads zenye zilikuwa zimekuwa tarmac za kwanza sana in Bungoma County. Hiyo njia ever since Wangamati walikuwa nasema watairepair potholes bana, unaweza place unafaa utake 30 minutes drive, una take more than 2 hours drive because kuna potholes nyingi kwa hiyo njia. Hata mtu anatumia nduthi peke yake hawezi pita. Wale watu wa majuu nduthi ni pikipiki hawezi pita kabisa. So Wangamati akatoka, hiyo njia iko hivyo. Lusaka bado ndio huyu anataka kutoka because saizi amekuwa in government now in leadership ya county for 2 years saizi, yeah, after 2022 election bado anataka kutoka. The same road iko hivyo tu, yeah. Apart from that, kuna hiyo mambo na scholarship zilikuanga during those days, ati Wangamati alikuwa ameleta scholarship. After hizo scholarship sasa Lusaka amekuja juu hizo pesa zilikuwa zinatoka kwa county, wanasema hizo scholarship ni mbaya. Anasema sijui watu walikuwa naibia hapo pesa zikakuwa scrapped off. So watu walikuwa wamepelekwa shule na hiyo government ya Lusaka wenye walikuwa wanalipiwa fees ikakuwa stopped kabisa. Hakuna watu saizi wanalipiwa fee. So kama ulipelekwa shule high school na scholarship ya nani ya Wangamati, inabidi sasa mzazi aanze kuona venye atatafuta pesa alipe. Haya, kuna jamaa niliona juzi akilialia hapa, sijui huko MCK ama sijui ndio hiyo kwa music sijui whatever, ile governing body ya music, anaitwa David Barasa. David Barasa amekuwa MCA wetu Kimili Ward for 2 consecutive terms. First term alikuwa elected, yeah. After amekuwa elected, second term nayo akavai, na kuna jamaa hapo Kimili alikuwa anaitwa British. So that guy has been in Kimilili for ever since alizaliwa. Ni wazaliwa wa hapo but he comes from Kikuyu land. So watu wanasema hapana, sisi afadhali tuweke tu mtu wetu, hata kama alikuwa mbaya, lakini tuwezi weka huyu. So you know the ukabila in back home, yeah, hatuwezi weka huyu mtu, so afadhali tuweke mtu wetu. So bado unarudisha ng'ombe yenyewe huko, inaweza tena inaanza kuiba ng'ombe, inaenda inapatikana sijui wapi kwa hoteli iko uchi, yani bana, sarakasi nyingi kwa counties. So mimi personally I feel like having 47 counties, personally, nasema from my personal perspective view, is not a bad thing, yeah. But now we are having a lot of offices zenye hazisaidii. Ofisi kama ya senator is doing nothing. Ofisi kama ya women rep kazi wanafanya tu ni kuenda huko parliament huko parliament kucheza tu, because hata they never even raise issues concerning ladies. They are doing nothing there. Aya, kwa counties we have a lot of offices, sijui ma CEC. Ukiangalia hizo kwa ma CEC ndio ministers. Wacha sasa wale CEC wa counties ni kama sasa ministers, cabinet secretaries hapa huku national government. In those offices, apart from having CECs, we have other people like wenye wanasaidiana tu kwa hiyo ofisi wengi. You find out that in a single office ya CEC it has more than 25 people who are employed there. Hizo pesa zinatoka wapi za kuwalipa? Hizo pesa zinatoka huku kwa taxpayers. Haya, apart from that, kuna ward reps, wale tunaita ma MCAs, yeah. MCAs are doing literally nothing. Kama ukienda hapo kwetu, mimi natumia example ya kwetu bana. Kwetu tumeishi last year ndio tumepata stima. No, not last year, this year, last month mwezi wa this year mwezi wa 4 ndio tumepata stima. Sisi hatukuwahi kutumia stima kwetu honestly. Hata saa hizi juzi ndio tumeenda kumalizia wiring, because hawa watu they only put it on paper but they don't put it in action, yeah. There is this wacha niongele Taita Taveta. This constituency inaitwa Undanyi. I've had files nyingi sana, niko nazo files zao. In that ward we have the member of parliament. This member of parliament every financial year analocate pesa za kupanda miti in every primary schools, yeah. So kuna a certain primary school yenye amalocate over 100,000 ya kupanda over 1,000 seedlings every year. Kuna seedlings zilikuwa zimepandwa sijui ati za avocado. Apart from that, kuna miti sijui eucalyptus but honestly when you go to those schools hautaipata hizo miti zimepandwa huko. Yeah, ukiangalia kwa financial reports wameandika hapo. Apart from that, unapata umeka 5 million pesa ya kusambaza umeme stima huko mashinani, lakini hiyo stima wanaekanga tu kwa lane moja. Tuseme kama ni Nairobi City, natumia example, wanatumia kama Moi Avenue peke yake. Along to Moi Avenue, watu wanaishi Moi Avenue peke yake wanapata stima watu kama 100. Ishaisha hivyo, 5 million ishaisha hivyo. They now wait for another financial year to reallocate again. So guys, hawa watu ni wezi, honestly ni wezi sana sana sana. Na hii mambo ya kupeanga mtu ati huyu jamani alikuwa mzuri last time akikuwa in office, wacha tumrudishe, hiyo ni upuzi. Mtu akikuwa elected for the first term na ashindwe kudeliver, mulete mwingine, hiyo term inafuata ingine. Let us bring a different person. Mi personally nasema I will vie for probably Kimilili MP come 2027 if tutafika huko, because hao tunaelect wengi wanakuja hapo wanasema sijui wako na pesa, wakishatumia pesa zao ku campaign, whenever they get in office they use almost 2 to 3 years kurudisha pesa zao. After washazirudisha they now begin stealing from us. But mtu ukijitokeza tu uenda hapo kijijini waambie watu mimi personally sina pesa ya kucampaign bana, sina pesa nitawa bribe nayo ya kuwapea unga, lakini I want us to change this world, I want us to change this constitution, I want us to change this this county. Watu kama wako na akili mzuri they'll have to vote for you, because hata ukienda huko kama hata uache kuiba you have nothing to lose, because the only thing that ilikuweka hapo ni your interest for the people. It's not about your money, because we had no money at the beginning. Ukienda hapo utangalia hawa watu, mtu kama Lusaka ako na helicopter yake tu, because amekuwa in leadership sijui for like now 3 terms, because alikuwa governor akakuja kuwa speaker, saizi ndio huyu governor. Na prior after kuwe hizo in those leadership positions alikuwanga DO kama Gachagua. Unashangaa hizi miaka kama 15 amekuwa in leadership, hizo pesa za kununua chopper, helicopter for those billions ametoa wapi? So guys, I think county governance sio mbaya, but hizo offices tuko nazo nyingi, watu workers wengi, kwanza kuna ghost workers kila mahali. Hiyo ndio inafanya we are using a lot of money spending on paying the leaders, what tunaita leaders, rather than kuzitumia for development. So kama ni kureduce counties to 8, we go back to former provinces pia, we don't mind, because tukikuwa na governors 8, alafu hizo ma MPs wa retain, but now we scrap off the senators positions, we scrap off the member of county assembly positions, we scrap off the women rep positions, tubaki kitu na watu wenye tunajua tukiwapatia hata kama ni 10 billion for a financial year, after that financial year we now come back to account for that. Lakini saa hizi ukienda hapo county useme now we gave you this money for this financial year, umefanya nini? Governor utasikia anasema wodi fulani niliwapatia bilioni fulani, wodi ingine. So by the time you go back to those wards to do the auditing, story ishaazima. So guys, mimi sina mengi ya kusema, but that's what I feel. Na back to you Wanyama.
Kabla aende kwa Wanyama, sijui kama anaweza
Maneno ni
kuambia.
mengi. You see, the creators of the 2010 Constitution, which is governing us up to date, they were not deputy Jesuses, but they gave us something good to stand with. I mean, to start with. Now, story ni Bungoma County. I see someone kidogo tu. Bungoma County. Sometimes I feel like it's a cursed county. It's my home county as well, but sometimes I feel like it's a cursed county. And we don't like base the whole space on Bungoma County. Let me give you a little background. So in the same Bungoma County kulikuwa na jamaa hapo hivyo, member of parliament anaitwa Wafula wa Munyinyi. You guys know him, I think. Wafula wa Munyinyi is like alikuwa amebewitch people of Kandoi constituency. Jamaa anatolewa anarudishwa. Even there is a time there is a time walisema ati the only reason he's not being made an MP is because hakuwa na degree. Jamaa he knew his people. Akaenda akasoma and got that degree. Do you know what his campaign slogan was when he came back? He just told the people, mulinituma shule nimerudi. And he won. Can you imagine? He won. Again, Kenya hapa Marvin hajawaambia ni what are the options in Bungoma County at the moment. This is what tunataka Bungoma County to move forward. Ni watu angalia, Senator Sifuna ako huko Nairobi. Mnasahau he is originally from Bungoma na walimfanya ile kitu. The guy packed his clothes akaenda wapi? Nairobi. Performing his duties. There is a lot of people from Bungoma County but wameshindwa how to start in Bungoma. Team Westlands MP ni wa wapi? Bungoma. Overperforming somewhere else. But hiyo county yenyewe huko I really don't know. And to tip of the iceberg, crowning on top of that ice cream. Do you know who else also wants to become the Bungoma governor? Didimas Baraza. Guys, tulikosea wapi in Bungoma County? Like, you know, there is a report by the Auditor General. 80% of Bungoma County, and it's the second most populous place in Kenya. 80% is from one ethnic community. Personally, yes, I want to highlight this thing. Yes, I'm a Bukusu. Yes. But in that county, we might be the problem. Biggest problem. And if we have a legit conversation about that, we first need to kill that thing of Mutuwetu from the Bukusus. Tribalism is very bad. Now, the effects we are seeing in that place is big. And that thing is affecting several counties. And I'm speaking to my tribesmen because this is an issue we need to address. You, my tribesmen and my sub-lecture men, you traverse very many counties. Out of the 18 Luya sub-lectures, and since we are talking about counties, let's handle this. Because this is a legit conversation we need to have. Out of the 18 sub-lectures of the Luya community, Bukusus form half of that population. And for you to know how big that population is, and this is what William Ruto has consistently used. Not even William Ruto, Uhuru has consistently also used to be in power for the 2 terms, is this. Out of those 18, half of that population is Luya. Hata hizo 17 ziamue aje, Bukusu always feel kuna ile kitu big brother syndrome. Hata if the other 17 are right, au wataenda the opposite side. Whether it is right, whether it is wrong. And to give you perspective on how this Luya sub-lecture is big is this. They're in Trans Nzoia. Unajua ina affect Trans Nzoia County. Hiyo ni Kitale. A very big portion of Trans Nzoia County. Wako. Enda mpaka hata huko Kapsabet. Wako. Uasin Gishu. Wako. Uko Tarbo. Ni wako mpaka hapo. Like that region expands very. Busia County. Wako. Like imagine that region all the way from Kitale going all the way up to Eldoret, Uasin Gishu, Tarbo, going down all the way mpaka huko za Kapsabet. Bukusus are still there. Mumias wameingia huko. Some part of Kakamega County wako in those homelands. Busia wako. Hizo ni counties ngapi? Kama 4. I've given you perspective for. Now if you convince this small thing called Bukusu to just go the other side, they don't care who is at the helm. Papa wa Roma has always danced because of that. Big brother syndrome. Mtu wetu. That's what Wetangula has always gathered on. Not because Papa wa Roma is the best leader. And I don't know what happens to us. We maintain leaders. We kill very good leaders. Muisa Kitui, what did we do with him? Mskari Kombo, as much as he has his own dramas, etc., etc., what did we do with him? So please, nyinyi watu wa Western, Bukusus, please. I am one of you, but we are the problem in Western Kenya. We are a very big problem. Anyway, tusimake about Bungoma County only. Keoti, nimesahau. That triggered me a little bit. Nimesahau who was next.
Just do it randomly.
Wanya,
Teacher, I see your hand is up, but okay, in 1 minute. Nakupea exactly 1 minute. Umalize chenye nataka kusema.
sawa
We go to Kipet.
sawa. Nilikuwa nasema hizi mambo za counties tukisema reduce zikuwe 8 itakuwa vizuri sana. Tuseme sasa
Fanuel,
yes
Simiyu.
yes naongea nilikuwa nasema
Yes, endelea.
yes nilikuwa nasema tukireduce hizi counties zikuwe 8 kama kitambo kama province, alafu sasa hizi sub counties ndo sasa MCA atoke kwa sub county a represent kwa hiyo county yenye sasa ni iko kwa hiyo 8 provinces. Sasa unajua sasa watu waliunda katiba au wasi walikuwa na tribalism sana. Msa alikuwa anafikiria ati tukigawa tuseme tukuwe na Busia, tukuwe na Bungoma, wasa marginalized communities hawezi pata leadership. Hiyo sasa ndio kitu inatuharibu, marginalized communities. Mbona tu tusiunde kitu moja na kila mtu akuwe na maendeleo? Kama wasa wanakupenda watakupigia kura, watakupigia, lakini ukisema marginalized communities, kwani ni nini hao wasa hawana yenye binadamu wengine wako nayo? So hao wasa waliunda katiba kwanza ndio walikuwa na makosa. Juu kitu ya kwanza walikuwa wazee. Tukakuwa na ka structure kazuri sana wa katiba, wakasema ukitaka kuwa MCA ama mbunge lazima ukuwe na degree. Unajua ni ngumu sana.
Malizia Fanuel.
Unajua ni ngumu sana MCA ku oversight governor. Wewe ushaiona wapi mwanafunzi ana oversight mwalimu? Ni ngumu. Huyu msata kushinda na akili. Utampeleka hivi, anakurudisha hivi. Wacha tuturudishe hiyo kitu. MCAs wakuwe na degree, mbunge akuwe na degree. Wewe utakuwaje mbunge una oversight president mwenye yako na degree, wewe hauna? Ani hiyo kitu manzee haiwezi. Wacha turudi tuone kama tunaweza amend katiba upya. Ukikuwa MCA kuwa na degree, ukikuwa governor au ukikuwa mbunge kuwa na degree. Alafu ile barabara yenye Marvin alikuwa anaongelelea, hata mimi nilikuwa naona hiyo barabara ilimwe, wamwage tu maram, watu elami. Alafu kitu ya mwisho unajua sasa nilikuja nikagundua kitu inatuharibia sana. Utapata mayouth wanataka kusimama viti, lakini sasa wakati wewe nafika ushafanya campaign, tumefika sasa tunakaribia kuingia kwa parties. Unapata chama zenye ziko ni chama za mabwenyenye. Unaambiwa leta 50,000, 100,000 ndio upewe ticket. Manze wewe ni youth, umehustle, umepata 100k ama 50k. Unapeana kwa chama, alafu hao wasee wanakaa wanasema uko nani ndio mtu wetu? Nani utu represent sana? Wanapea mtu mwingine ticket, 50k yako ama 100k yako inaenda. Na unapata mayouth wengi hatuko kwa hizi viti. So kama inaweza kuwa tukakuja na chama, tuseme hii ni chama sisi tutasimama nayo. Ndio tuseme kama unataka kusimama MCA 5,000, mbunge 10k, hiyo msee haizi kosa kupata, lakini uko sure niko na hii ticket. Ndio sasa hao wasee wakikuja na chama zao, pia sisi tuko na yetu, tunaweza jifund, tunaweza tukazunguka. Asante. 1 minute imeisha.
Okay. So asante sana. So guys, we are almost 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Nilikuwa hapa na sauti mbaya sana morning, of course bado haijarudi fiti, but I'll try as much as possible to ensure that this conversation keep it going. So nataka ni ashe in your speakers, tumeongelea Bungoma County almost an hour jamani, hata kama ni kwetu bwana. Yeah, anyway, acha nipatie kipembe.
Good morning. Hello.
Yes, good morning. We can hear you, Kipembe.
I want to thank you all for, more especially Tisonko, for giving us this platform, because as I'm seeing things are boiling out well, like today in Eldoret, we'll be having a consultative meeting with our area MCA, because we realized there's something which is going on as the people of Uasin Gishu County, and I think people are now getting are waking up, because we cannot see people grabbing land and keep quiet. So the youth of that area have woken up, and they have called for a meeting, which is likely to take place in a few minutes from now. So the problem which I've realized in this country, we have some few families which I can equate them to the Rico's family in Ecuador, which used to oppress the people, the brick makers. So, like for example, when we look at the Nyanza region, we have the family, which is the Odinga's family. When you want anything from, for example, when you want to do, hello? Like for example, when we look at the Nyanza region, we have, hello? I'm still speaking?
Okay, Kipembe, continue. Juma, ukikuja hapa kwa mic bana, never try to unmute kama haujapewa chance, please, kindly.
So,
Because it interrupts or it disrupts the conversation. So, Kipembe, endelea.
So when you look at these families, they tend to influence who is to be voted in and who is not to be voted in. For example, when you look at the Professor
Yes, thank you guys for organizing this platform, majorly to Wanyama. I think it is a high.
Well, Juma, kindly. Have some manners, man. It's morning. Just give us time. We'll give you the speaker. Kindly. You're interrupting a current
process.
speaker. Okay.
So what I'm saying is this: if there must be trouble, let it be during my day.
Just continue.
So if there must be trouble, let it be during my day, so that my child may have peace in the future. So that is the slogan that we are supposed to move with. Let us not look at these people making this country dirty and keep quiet. So let us educate people. For example, we have different cadres in this country. Do we need really to educate teachers to know that there are ills happening in their institutions? Do we need to educate doctors to know what is happening in the institutions? So let everyone wake up, and we stand as one people, one Kenya, and make everything right. Because I've heard that there are people, we have some medical officers in the counties who are not being paid, but they're not talking about it. So let us stand up and fight for what is right. That was my time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Kipembe. So, Juma, I think you broke the protocol, but let me just give you 2.5 minutes. You finish your submission, then I go to another speaker. Juma, next time you come on the speakers panel, never unmute before you are given the mic.
Okay, I agree. Most obliged.
So Juma, nakupea mic and turn on mute, ndio?
Okay, can you get me, guys?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, the organizer, for bringing up these issues, the debt of that is being experienced in our counties. Now, if you may realize, there is still an issue pending that is on the provincial commissioners, the issue of the DC. I think if we can reduce also these offices, this can also help us to cut down the taxpayers' money that are being used in these offices. Then also the issue of reducing the number of counties. I think that can also help us a lot, because we have realized that a lot of money is being wasted that cannot be even accounted for. Then I think we also thank our brother Kebosa, who have actually promoted something that is very, very critical. It is civil education. I think we should follow that. Let us know our rights as citizens when it comes to matters of.
Juma, before you continue, I beg to cut you short first. Yeah, we are the topic of discussion today is the debt in our Kenyan counties, and of course, we expect you guys probably come from one of the counties amongst the 47. We expect you to give us the overview of what is exactly happening in those counties, especially on corruption matters, and so tuache kuenda story refu sana. At least let us stick on the topic of discussion.
Okay, I get you. Then you can give the mic to another person, please.
Okay. Do some research, then we'll come back. Samuel. Okay, Samuel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. Samuel, I come from Makueni County. One, I can say that Makueni is one of the counties where during the reign of Kifuda Kibwana, I saw devolution working. Even though I'm for reduction of the counties to 8, that is my stand. That is my stand. That can't change. There's a lot of wastage of public resources. But what Kifuda did was he just followed the constitution. I participated in all we used to have what we used to go to town hall and decide which projects we need. So the MCA said no role in determining what project to be done. So that's one thing that Kifuda did, and it was a bit challenging because it's not possible to copy it in other counties because MCAs wanataka kukula pesa kwa hizo projects. So we need to understand that where we come from. That was something that I saw it working. So I'm for the reduction of the counties to 8 to avoid all these wastages, because there's a lot of money being wasted due to duplication of projects. The only thing I wanted to advise on this, I only need 30 seconds, is that we need to support one another. Right now, I'm not in Kenya, I'm in United States, but we are following so many people in diaspora are following what is happening back home. And yes, Wanyama? Okay, so what I'm saying is we have been advocating for leaderless, tribeless, whatever initiative. But it's high time we start identify some amongst yourselves, people whom will be able to know who are we going to follow. So we are just encouraging you, when somebody rises up, let's avoid these small fightings we are seeing. Like, we want to monopolize ideas. Let's criticize them in a manner that, it does not we don't give the government bloggers the opportunity to dismantle our unity. So that is one thing I saw when think that this girl called herself African girl when she talked about she has an event. Then we started very fast to attack her. It might not be a good idea as to some of people, but let's not give the government opportunity to start coming in between us to start fighting. We start fighting amongst ourselves. Then lastly, let's look for some guys who are old. Somebody talked of these guys like Kinamukisa, Kitui, whatever. Because I tried to talk with my parents back home to do some civic education, and there is a lot to be done. They still have like 30-40% votes, which Ruto can still take them from us, the Gen Zs. Because those people, they believe in the old people. When you tell them Kenya can change, they have never seen what is good governance in their lifetime. So they don't know what you're talking about. You are talking about Kenya can change, but they don't know what it is. So they have been used to the brutality of Moi. They have seen whatever has been happening. So we need to look for those old guys so that whenever we are doing our activities, we also need to use them. In a Maranga type, we need to look where is Maranga. We try to at least to be seen with working with those kind of people so that those ones can talk with our parents. So that's something I want to plead. Let's look for those guys where they are so that we try to, because right now we want to see how we are going to do away with this Raila, Rutoism, these political elites who have been taking advantage. And we can only use other people to fight. Then lastly, I've read a lot of history of the world changes, and we still need those. The reason why I want to insist, we need those people in place. I've read about Jim Wajigi, I know about Aglolisi or whatever, those kind of people. People like Arua, look at whatever. But let's look some people, we identify them, whom we are going to work with them. Because at the end of the day, we as Gen Zs, we don't have the financial muscle that is required to make sure that we govern the country. We still need to, when you look at the history of America, when Martin Luther King was fighting for the civil rights, it reached a point where he was helped by the president, John F. Kennedy. He had to be assassinated. When you look at the slavery, Lincoln, a president, a white person, had to help them. So that shows we still need somebody at the top, these kina likes of the Karuas and the kina likes of Marangas and whatever, to help us. That is, as we move on with our system. Then lastly, don't issue to do with the betrayal. Let's not mind about them. Let's just move forward. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Samuel. Who was up next? I think let me give this chance to Mindscape Africa. You are here some few minutes ago.
That's me, KOT. I'm using that to hear. I can't hear people. That's Wanyama.
Oh, sawa. Nilikuwa nimeona a newcomer here, and of course I wanted to give them a chance anyway. Okay. Let me give this chance to JM Kariuki.
KOT, morning.
Good morning.
Hey, morning. Would you give someone else the mic? I'm not ready yet. Please.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay. If you are ready, kindly raise up your hand, because I think I'm having that activist, then Paul Otieno, if I'm not wrong.
Hello, good morning. Wanyama, KOT, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, sure, we can hear you. Just proceed.
I like the conversation we are having, and as I keep looking at the data for various counties, it's very depressing. It's angering. It's infuriating. It is many things. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, because I found, so far I've found one county that is actually doing things right. And I believe if we try and understand how they are getting their stuff done, we can model others around that one. And that county is Narok. Narok, by the way, has about 1.2 million people. It is a small county, but when it comes to revenue collection, for example, its revenue collection is the second highest in the country. Yeah, its revenue collection is second to Nairobi. In the 9 months to this financial year, 2023-2024, it has collected 3.8 billion. Yeah, Kenya shillings. And it's a small county. You can't compare Narok with Kiambu or Bungoma or Kakamega. And so they are doing something right. And again, Narok again is one of those counties where the MCAs are not paid ridiculous amounts of money in terms of sitting allowances. They are paid a moderate, something that is moderate. Yeah. Some of these counties, you find they are being paid so much, like Baringo, they're being paid so much, yet you can't see the development or what they are doing with that money. And then again, when it comes to something like personnel emoluments, the salaries, wages, and what have you, Narok County is the only county that actually meets the PFM Act requirement of 30%. Yeah, it meets that threshold for development. Other counties do not. So I think there are guys who are doing it right, and we can follow them and get to understand how they are doing it, what they are doing, where we're making mistakes, and so on. When it comes to the issue of going back to provinces, I'm a bit conflicted, because what problem are we solving when we go back to provinces? What does that mean? Because when somebody is now becomes in charge of a province, does that stop his stealing? The stealing will still continue, only now that it will be at a larger scale. And what our biggest problem we have in this country is bad governance and the stealing and the plundering of resources. That's our biggest challenge. Yeah. And as we make these proposals, it is always also good to think of the repercussions that we may have as a result of these proposals, of these things that we want enacted. So I'll give you an example. In India was once a British colony, and back then there's a time that they had a problem with cobras. There were very many of them. So the British told the Indian natives, you guys, if you kill, for every snake that you kill, we will pay you. All you need to do is bring the evidence that you have killed the snake, the head of the snake. And the guy said, fine. So guys started killing the snakes, but as they were doing so, they also found out that, they are poor. They might as well breed the snakes, kill them, and then get paid. So what ended up happening is that instead of the snakes reducing, the snakes multiplied. They doubled, they tripled, because guys are getting paid, for killing the snakes. So that is what they now call the cobra effect. So as a result of these guys wanting to reduce the number of snakes, they ended up multiplying them. And I think that is what happened with devolution. We had a scenario where there was plundering of resources at national level, but when we went to devolution, that was devolved to the counties. So as we think about going to provinces, and changing the current structure, what problems are we going to solve, and which ones are we going to create? Because the last thing you want is that kind of Cobra effect where now we multiply the problems instead of solving them. Food for thought. Thank you, KOT Wanyama.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much, Dr. Activist. And of course, hata mimi I have a lot of questions, yeah? I have a lot of questions. Of course, they are rhetorical questions to me, so I don't need the answer. But I'll try to sit back, figure out everything, see, are we creating our own problems or we are solving our own problems? So I'll do a research, then some other time nitakuja hapa niwafungulie space, niwanyime mic, and I'll be speaking facts. Yeah, so thank you so much, Data Activist. Paul, are you there?
Hey, I'm here, KT. Morning to you all.
Good morning.
Mimi kwanza nilikuwa nataka niseme, for example hapa Kisumu, mimi ni mtu wa Kisumu, nilikuwa nimeenda audit report yenye financial audit report yenye ilikuwa for 2018 ndio nilikuwa nimeaccess. So nikiangalia through unapata hii county kuna bank accounts 112 bank accounts. 112 bank accounts, the 69 bank accounts wakati hiyo audit ilikuwa inafanyika, they omitted the bank balance for 69 bank accounts. Inamaanisha kuna corruption ilifanyika kwa hizo bank accounts, ndio bana wataki kuonyesha hizo balances. Again, kuna manual payment, wanafanya manual payment of around 33 million for ward offices. For ward offices, out of hiyo kuna method yenye wanafaa watumie kulipa staffs, which is called integrated personnel and payroll database. Yenye nafaa wakilipa tunaweza fuatilia payment zimekuwa zikifanyika hapo kwa county. So hizo bank accounts inafaa reduce. Why one county have 112 bank accounts? Inamaanisha kuna kitu inafanyika hapo ndani.
Okay. Thank you so much, Paul. And of course, let me just go through something here, a report which was documented on 8th July 2024. The title is Counties Operating the Highest Number of Bank Accounts Against Regulations. The highest was Bungoma County with 352 number of accounts, then followed by Baringo County, 304 bank accounts, Migori County, 208, then Nyandarua has 86 bank accounts, Kwale County has 63, Kiambu County has 52, Embu County has 37, Taita Taveta also has 37, Murang'a County has 36, Tana River has 34. I hope mnaona sasa. Kwanza pale Bungoma bana. Mimi Bungoma hata nashinda sana.
Bungoma. Why me?
Mnaweza nipeleka kaunti nyingine jamani? 352 bank accounts. Hapa ni kama kila waka ako na account yake ya bank for the county. Anyway, hiyo tutaongelea siku hii.
Tuseme tu Bungoma County ndio SI unit ya everything wrong. KOT.
Can I have Mweru? Mweru, I'm giving you this chance for the last time. You've been here, Mama, so let me just give you this chance because you're the only lady on the platform when you request mic.
Thanks. I don't know. I just got triggered by as one of the speakers. That was the thing is we can keep doing things that are already not working. The last initiative I participated in before I left Kenya was the constitution referendum that we had after Moi left in 2005. And I remember we had to go to different parts of Kenya because at the time, majority of the population could not even read, and we had to go read the constitution for them and interpret the constitution and sort of teach them all these things. And if we think back as to what led up to this current constitution that Kenya is operating under, it was a crisis that occurred, I guess, in 2007, something of that nature. And I had the opportunity, which I don't think it was a privilege, the opportunity to meet one of the experts that Kenya basically recruited from the US, one of the political experts that they used to come and help create this constitution we are following right now in Kenya. And that is part of the problem and issue I'm having. And I expressed that already. African issues need to be fixed by Africans. You cannot import people to come and help you fix our problems, because if they don't live there, they're not aware of the situation and they don't know. It's the same concept. America, when they have their own issues, they don't import people from Africa to come help them solve them and design solutions for them. This constitution is a major issue. So you need to cut down on your representation. You can afford it. That's a fact. I understand there's fear for change, but the fact of the matter is you cannot afford it. If you do the math on how much money you have wasted paying MCAs, paying senators, paying all these people in 14 years since this constitution went into place, there is no rationale behind this. The only people that can think or who would have thought or perceived that this was a solution to the problems that were going on in Kenya were definitely outsiders. So that is the one thing I wanted to say. But also, the other issue is I am happy that I hear people on Spaces mentioning that they're open to vying for seats, because quite frankly, we need Gen Zs in office. That's what we need. The same people who are now in office, in higher positions, are the same people who are in office and causing issues when I was a kid almost 40 years ago. So we need new people. So we can't keep complaining and talking and talking and talking. Part of the solution is you guys stepping in, and we'll back you. People like me, I'm waiting to see some form of structure happening, so I know what direction we're heading. If it means that we'll fly to Kenya to vote for you guys and help support you guys, we're willing to do that, because we can't keep recycling leaders. And even with the referendum, there's a lot of things that I would love to touch base with Omondi about. Like, there needs to be limitation. If you run for MP, you can only hold 2 terms, and you cannot vie for another seat. Like, you cannot run for MP and then come back and go to vie to become a governor. So there needs to be a lot of stipulation to where we make sure we don't have the same problem that we've been having, where we've been having the same old people in positions of power. We have to really set standards and limitations. Even if we set the age limit from 20 to 50, that's perfect. Then we don't have to deal with this issue of old people in office. I mean, I'll give an example why we need only Gen Z in office going forward. There's a lot of issues that are going to happen with things like AI. These people in office right now currently, majority of them don't have any understanding of social media, period. Let alone things like AI that are going to be the key problems going forward, and social media. The only people who have any level of understanding and the impact of how to use these things and utilize things like the internet to the full max and advantage is only, I would say, Gen Z and some millennials. So it's really crucial that we start structuring this movement. And because I want to see Gen Z and millennials in all Occupy Parliament, literally speaking, like 100%. Everybody in Parliament should be Gen Z. And I understand the slogan that you want Ruto to go. But let's bear that in mind. Like, we're not going to do all this. Have your comrades killed. Hold spaces here. Go through all this emotional turmoil. And then we end up with candidates who we don't even care for. You know what I mean? I hope I'm making sense. So I'm glad that you guys have empowered yourselves. You guys have managed to mobilize and do all these things. And let me tell you, do not understand your power. You don't need any politician, to be honest. The things you've achieved so far, without their assistance, you don't need them. I mean, right now, you guys can even, I'm just talking hypothetically, like you can even decide we're starting a party and you'll be surprised to 75% of the population. You do not need them. You don't even need our parents per se. You guys just within yourselves, you have the country in your hands. And you know what? I believe and I trust that you guys will get this shit done. You'll get this done. We would not be having these conversations 4 or 5 years from now. The dynamics have to change, and you're the only hope we have. Clearly, you're the only hope. Anyway, thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, Mweru. And have a good night from your end. I know it's probably 11:26 p.m. Thank you so much. Can I have Farouk? You can see your hand is up. Then we'll go to JM, then the real Joe.
Hi guys. And Wanyama, can you give me some minutes? I'll be back.
Farouk,
Yes,
are you there?
I'm there. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Wanyama, can you hear Farouk or any other speaker?
Nope, I cannot.
Okay, Farouk will come back later. JM Kariuki?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, morning, KOT, morning, Wanyama. Thank you for hosting this space. Yeah, I do much more of listening. I'm not that much of a talker anyway. I like to learn from other people, so I attend the spaces, but I don't. So, but today I just thought I'll request for the mic because of the road I see in our counties. I myself, I come from, my parents come from Murang'a County anyway, but they resettled in Kajiado County, specifically Kajiado North. And the level of, the level of inconsistency in like Kajiado County, you go to some parts, like you go to Kajiado North, okay, there is much of development there. But then if you go to areas like Kajiado West, it's so backward. I mean, it's more or less now is because people are going to invest there. And then you find in the county government, in the county offices there, this Kajiado governor, Olelenku, he's only employed 90% are Maasais. I mean, Kajiado County is well known. It's a metropolitan county. But the tribalism and nepotism that goes in there, I mean, it's out of this world. And you'll hear people complaining and nothing is done. I mean, nothing is done. You go to some parts, people don't even have water. I mean, just a basic need like water, like in Kajiado West, which is very near to Ngong. There's no water there, and it's only like not even 10 kilometers from Ngong. You find, I know this area very well because I come from there and I've got interest there. And then I've got interest in a few counties. You go to Machakos, you find, there's a lot of inconsistency. There is no equality in the whole country. You go to most of parts of Machakos County, the roads are very well tarmacked. That's one credit probably I would give to the former governor, although he was so corrupt to the core. And then again, you go to another county of got interest like Kilifi, you find only in the town areas, people have some infrastructure, but when you go to the interior, there's one place called Marafa. I don't know you guys travel a lot, but I travel a lot in Kenya. You go to a place from Malindi to Marafa is about 1 hour. The road is very well tarmacked. Then from there, you're going to another town called Chamari. They are very prime areas, and there's a lot of people there. You find the road is there isn't even a bridge. So when it comes to the rainy season, farmers there cannot even take their produce to Malindi. Yet you hear the county government has put a tender out. I think this is 2 years now going. There's no bridge. The road has not been tarmac. So you wonder, what do they do with this money? You know, I mean, so I mean the rot in the counties is just above board. We need good governance, and that's why civic education, especially in mashinani, that's why, you know, people need to be given civic education to understand. So that's my submission for today. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Kariuki. Riljo?
Thank you very much, Keoti and Wanyama, for always giving us platforms to have this kind of.
Riljo, are you speaking? Wanyama, can you hear him?
I am speaking. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, give me 100.
Okay, okay. Continue. Akishamaliza, you inform me.
Okay. So basically, I want to just highlight a few issues in terms of the dirt in the counties. But I want to highlight these issues talking back in time and current issues and the current problems we're having. I've had some few sentiments here. I think Mweru talked about we being overrepresented. Then I also want to share sentiments from data activists. But I want to, first of all, have a very different opinion in terms of representation. Well, in fact, in my own ideology, I think we might be underrepresented, but I'll explain why. Before I explain, I want us to go to our constitution and look at what our constitution promotes when it brought in the devolved government. I think it is Article 174 of Chapter 11 that talks about the objects of devolved government. If you look at that article clearly, because most of the times I think we fail in implementing our constitution because we don't look at maybe the principles that the constitution talks about, the objectives and all those kind of things. But let's look at what the constitution talks about when it comes to devolved government. Article 174 talks about promoting diversity. Article 174 recognizes that Kenya is very, very diverse in terms of tribe, communities, and culture, which is key in our progress as Africans. So the devolved government was supposed to promote diversity. But look at Article 174 talking about the people being able to manage their own affairs. Communities were supposed to be able to manage their own affairs. That is what the devolved government was supposed to promote. But where did the rain start beating us? If you look at the 2010 Constitution, it was supposed to automatically kick off full implementation in the new government that was coming in of 2013. That was Uhuru Ruto regime. But what history did they have prior to that? They rejected the 2010 Constitution. Actually, they did not want amendments to it. They rejected it completely. They did not want it. And therefore, they were the ones who were coming in to begin its implementation. That was doomed to fail. And I remember clearly Uhuru appointing county commanders to police governors. You guys can remember that well. And he used county commanders to frustrate governors during the first implementation of our 2010 Constitution. The first government that was coming then, that was the government that was going to make the Constitution a success. That government failed. Unfortunately, the second government is just an extension of the first government. And therefore, the second government has also failed. That's why you're seeing similarities in both Uhuru regime and Ruto regime. They just do things unconstitutionally. They don't obey court orders and things like that. And I want us to know the reason why also we are failing in the county assemblies and in the county government. The oversight in the county government is the biggest failure. oversight in county government is the biggest failure. Article 185 talks about the county assembly being the legislative, leading the legislative agenda for the counties. But let me tell you about the county assemblies in our country currently. If you look at maybe a county, Kama Homa Bay County, 95%, even if not more, of those MCAs are ODM. The governor is ODM. Okay? Probably the senator is ODM. That is a party county. And therefore, the party politics will always play about in that county. Therefore, the legislative agenda fails in that county because whenever the legislation will try to be enacted in that county, it will be seen as politics. These people are going against the party and things like that. So that is the first fundamental failure of county governments, the legislative agenda. Because legislation is what is supposed to offer oversights in the counties. We are not the ones supposed to be talking about Bungoma County having over 300 bank accounts, and none of those bank accounts are they been audited. How are the transactions happening in those bank accounts? We are still even blind there. But we have a legislation in that county. The legislative agenda of that county has failed as per Article 185, and therefore we do not have legislation in our counties. That is the biggest fundamental failure of our county governments. There is no proper oversight in the counties. There's no proper oversight. And if there's no oversight, there will never be governance, proper governance. We'll always be complaining about these kind of things, wastages and things like that. And therefore, right now, this is a wake-up call to us. Because at least from this movement that we started, and from these spaces that we are having, Kenyans are now able to see the importance of oversight in our governance. And therefore, I'm also happy that some of us are discussing about maybe taking up leadership positions. I urge you people to take those leadership positions. I like what the data activist said. We might want to reduce the number of counties and things like that. But don't forget that our constitution talks about promotion and it recognizes diversity. What am I talking about? If we go back to the old way of provinces and we come, I'll give again an example. We now have Nyanza. Nyanza has Kisumu, has Kisii, has Kisii and Kisumu, first of all, are different in terms of ethnicity and things like that. And therefore, we'll always go back again to the tribal affairs. We might want maybe to reduce, yes, the counties, which is also a good idea if I think, but we must also look at the repercussion, just like the data analyst said, the data activist said. We must also look at what are the repercussions that this comes with in terms of governance and in terms of also recognizing that we are very, very diverse. Never compare our governance to things like America and things like that. In the US, we only talk about whites and blacks. In Kenya, we are talking about well over 45 tribes. We are talking about a very, very diverse country in terms of ethnicity. Therefore, we also need to recognize a lot of that. But I don't mind maybe having a merger between Nyamira and Kisii because they're the same of the same ethnicity to reduce like to reduce the amount that goes into in terms of governance of Kisii and Nyamira. I don't see a problem merging Kisumu and Homa Bay and Migori as one county because they're just the same people. I don't have a problem with that. But we must also be able to promote diversity. That is the reason why the 2010 Constitution came. And if you look back also in history, why was the 2010 promoting diversity? If you look back in history, these issues were from Moi regime, whereby people felt like, no, You see development is not being brought, and it's happening even right now. And we are seeing the traits of Moi. We've seen it. We've seen, of course, Uhuru was Moi's son. Ruto is Moi's son. We've seen traits of Moi in both governance. And we have seen politics whereby if you are not pro the president, development will not come to your region. And we've seen that. That is what the 2010 constitution was trying to avoid, so that the national government takes equitable distribution of resources as per Article 174. The national government distributes resources to the county governments, and the county governments now are able to manage their own development agenda because they understand their development agenda. In Homa Bay County, I'm surprised the governor should be able to run the development agenda in terms of what? We have a lake there, fisheries, what? Industries. County governments are very afraid of coming up with factories and industries. I wonder why. And that is one of the things that people walikuwa na complain during Moi. Moi tulikuwa na complain amefunga kampuni ya kiberiti Kisumu, amefunga sijui cotton sijui wapi, amefunga sijui pyrethrum, the things we used to learn in history. We are not seeing them. All those kind of things. Sasa ukiuliza mtu about pyrethrum, I think the people are studying right now, they might not even know. They might not even know. And therefore, those are some of the diversities that the Constitution was supposed to promote. And we are going back behind the 2010 Constitution because the implementation failed from the onset. If we had taken in a government that was respecting the Constitution, we would have been talking about a different story. Moving forward, what solutions should we have as a country? The first solution is what we are currently doing, and that is civic education. That is the first solution. Information is power. We need to ensure that in all those devolved governments, the people who are living in Homa Bay, Bungoma, those counties, understand this constitution and what the constitution talks about. That's the first solution that we need. Enlighten as many people as possible. Thank you. Let me finalize. We need to enlighten as many people as possible. First solution. Second solution, we need to promote and uphold this constitution. Therefore, we need to look for a government leadership that promotes our constitution. When we do that and implement this constitution fully, then later on, we will start looking at what are the flaws of this constitution. Otherwise, we have not implemented it yet. We need to implement it first. Then we can be able to see where the constitution has flaws. Thank you very much for the time. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Joe. This is Wanyama. I'm waiting for my co-host, Marvin. Marvin, are you back?
Yes. I was sorting the mic issue.
Aye. Sawa. So, ukisikia, for the listeners, ukisikia hii, jua ni wakati yako imeisha because we are almost completing the show, this morning show. Marvin, take it up.
Okay. Thank you so much. I believe the real Joe did something good by giving out his submission. I was unable to hear him, thus I dropped and came back. So let me have Mariam Wairimu.
Good morning. Thank you. I can't see your co-host, Wanyama. So I hope you're doing well, Wanyama. Hi, KOT. The gentleman who was speaking before me spoke very well. I'm happy I'm speaking after him, the real Joe, because I came up when I listened to the gentleman who was speaking about Narok. I didn't get his name. The one who was saying that they are doing very well in revenue collection, and they're doing very well in terms of development, that they're meeting the threshold. So I had some questions for him. When you talk about revenue collection, that is not a government, it's not something to give accolades to the government for, because it means that the Mwananchi is working very hard. I mean, they collect the revenue from the Mwananchi, from the businesses. So it means that Kenyans 100% are committed. Kenyans are very hardworking people. We've always been very diligent. We've always been performers, even when the conditions are not very good for us. So that's kudos to the Mwananchi. They're doing very well. The government has never had an issue collecting revenue. The government always has an issue spending that revenue. So my question to the gentleman from Narok was, when he's speaking about development, I would have wanted to really know what kind of development he's talking about. And is the Mwananchi in Narok feeling the effect of the development? Is the Mwananchi in Narok able to audit these developments in terms of how much money is being put into them and what value they are getting out of them? Because to see the president launching electricity in a madhouse in 2024 is very embarrassing. I know to them they might count this as development. It is not development. To me, the gentleman who was speaking before me is very right, because what we'd have wanted to see when it comes to counties is industrialization. That's the only way that Kenya is going to grow. So to see mahindi natolewa sijui Western inaletwa Nairobi and it's taken to very many different counties for making unga, that doesn't make sense. If these counties are not able to develop themselves to the point of being industrialized, for them to be able to produce their own food 100% and to distribute to other counties, sioni kama ni development. If these counties are not able to give employment to the local people, EOC development, because at the moment the counties are only focused on giving employment in the offices. So your pesa ni ya mwananchi bado. It's just tax money that is being used by the counties to pay wages. That is not how the counties are supposed to work. So I came up, Wanyama, because I really wanted to know, when he's speaking about development, what is he talking about? And how is the mwananchi feeling it? And are they able to audit this development in terms of value? Yeah, those are my questions to that gentleman. So thanks, Wanyama.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mariam. And Wanyama, who was the speaker that raised the concern about Narok County? Was it the data activist? Ama alikuwa nani?
Yes, I think it is. Yeah.
So kama yuko kwa space bado, he can come up and respond to Mariam's question. And of course,
and kidogo too, I'm sorry, Wanyama, for interrupting you. Kidogo too, I'm going to just mention something. You know, the government has perfected this art of feeding mwananchi crumbs, you know, the bread crumbs, and then they eat the bread. So they give you this perception that they're doing so much, but wanapatia 5% of what you actually have worked for. So I will give an example. When you're told that, we have these very good roads, Kenya is really progressing in terms of infrastructure. What they're hiding is when they use 3 trillion on roads, we lose about 1 trillion to corruption. So how do you audit that in terms of value? It is the same question I'm asking with Narok also. How are they auditing this value of development? We are losing so much. We are being fed crumbs, but tunadanganywa too. So unless you're able to audit the money that they are collecting and the projects that they're actually doing and how it's affecting or benefiting the mwananchi and how much money they're actually losing in the process of that quote unquote development, then we can't go saying that, we are so developed or we are meeting the threshold of development. That is actually my concern. Thanks a lot, Wanyama.
Okay.
Mariam,
thanks
it's
a lot,
KOT.
Mariam.
It's Marvin speaking to you.
She's unable.
KOT is Marvin. Sorry, I didn't know your other name.
Yeah, I'm Marvin Mabonga. That's my official name. Yeah. So let me have the data activist responding to you, Mariam. He's here, I think.
Hi, I'm back. I barely got the portion that Mariam was talking about. If she could please tell me what the question is, I'll be able to respond appropriately. Sorry about that.
Okay. Mariam, can you pardon your question kindly?
Yeah, I'll put it so briefly. You said you were speaking very highly of Narok, saying that they're collecting revenue well. So kudos to Mwananchi, because it means that Mwananchi is really working hard. That has nothing to do with government. Government, when they're collecting the revenue, they're not collecting it for you, they're collecting it for them. So kudos to the Mwananchi in Narok. I have seen the way Narok has really progressed in terms of businesses. So my question to you was, when you're talking about them meeting the threshold of development, can you kindly walk us through some of these developments that you're talking about and how you think they are directly affecting the mwananchi? And my question was, are you able to fully audit the money that is being used, the funds that are being used in these developments?
Okay, let me respond to that. What I've done so far is just I was looking at it from the perspective of the data based on the Office of Control of Budget. So I haven't audited the actual developments on the ground. That may be different, because what I've found even in different counties is that what appears on record and what appears on the ground is very different. Yeah, I can give you a case study of Siaya where there are some boreholes which were said to have been dug, but when you go to the water authority that is supposed to license the digging of the boreholes, there are no licenses to show for. So I was just looking at it from the Office of Control of Budget perspective and comparing it from that perspective. I haven't looked at it from the Auditor General's reports, because that's another way of looking at it. And then number two is that most of the money that Narok makes comes from Masai Mara. Yeah. And it's not like these other counties which have different revenue streams that don't necessarily have parks to generate that revenue. So I'm just looking at it from that perspective in terms of own source revenue. Yeah, I haven't looked at it from a development perspective, and its own source revenue for the 9 months to 2023, the first 9 months of this financial year, of the financial year that has just ended, compared to the previous financial year, the same period. Yeah, so I haven't looked at the development aspect of it, Miriam, but I will do that. I will definitely do that.
Thank you. That's actually a very interesting response, because when you're talking about civic education, I think we try to stop spreading misinformation, propaganda on behalf of government. That's exactly what they do. They give you the reports that what to call ground how I feel, because how wakiba pesa, if they take 100 million and say they've what do you call it? They've dug boreholes or whatever it is that they do with that money. Mwananchi is not able to audit it. So if you take that propaganda from paper, and that's what really Ruto is doing, if you take that propaganda from paper and spread it, then people think that kuna kazi inafanyika, but in real sense, we know that there's really nothing happening. So let's not trust also these reports that they give. Unless tuone kwa ground, kitu real, something tangible on the ground, then we cannot say that there's development. That is what is happening in so many other counties, that they keep singing of development, but there's so many unfinished projects. There's so many ghost projects. So we cannot call that. At the end of the day, when they give the reports, they say that those are complete projects, but we cannot call them projects or development, because we know what is happening. And I think that's why people are singing civic education. So thank you. I'm satisfied with his answer.
Okay, thank you so much, Mariam, and I'm also happy to learn that you are contented with the response from the data analyst, the data activist. And thank you so much. I can see these spaces, we are doing much, and of course we are bringing a lot of things on the limelight. So let us keep pushing. Can I have Paul? Paul, I gave you the chance, but you are, I don't know if you had spoken. Otieno.
I've done my submission before. I talked about bank.
Okay. Thank you. Let me have Ja Ponji.
Good morning, Wanyama. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Hello. Okay, thank you for this space. And mine is just to go back to the root cause. So why are we talking about that in our Kenyan counties? So something we are all not addressing, but we agree on is corruption. So whatever best constitution we have or policies, as long as we don't hold anyone accountable for all the messes, I don't think we'll be headed anywhere. So my point is very simple, basic. Let's hold people to account for all the messes and the corruption. We have the audit reports. We know who they are. We have seen places whereby people are using 25 million for flowers and no one is being held accountable. Let's start from there, where counties are able to buy wheelbarrow for 1.2 million. If we don't do that, whoever comes in the office, they will not be any different, So We want at least, if you can advocate for a system whereby anyone who goes to the office, wherever they come from, things will just work because they're being held accountable for their actions, you know. So, but if we have the auditor's report and nothing is done to the culprits, we will just be moving in circles. And that's my submission for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Japonji. And of course, Wanyama, just to say this, I think we can do a lot of analysis of what is happening in the Kenyan counties. After exhausting everything, then I believe we can go to the public institutions like the universities. Yeah, I remember back in 2017, 2018, when my alma mater used 1 million to buy a television. Yeah, so I think we can also go through those reports, the financial reports of the universities and other institutions. So let me just have Ochi, then we go to Tomboya. Ochi, niaje bro?
Poa sana. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, Tomboya, you are audible.
Well, thank you. I greet all Kenyans that in our Kenyan counties, well, it all narrows down to disregard to the rule of law. And that is largely the reason as to why Kenyans are currently lamenting. The constitution we passed in 2010 has not been fully implemented. That is the problem. And it has been evident that when politicians get on top of their vehicles to talk to Kenyans, they mostly talk of we will do, we are planning to do, we have set aside, and that has always been the language. Politics in Kenya has been packaged in a way that once you listen, has been packaged such that once you hear the term politics, then you associate it with lies, you associate it with something bad, to an extent that people fear engaging in politics. While for a fact, politics determines our well-being. So this is deep, and I will not necessarily say much because it is true that devolution has proved not to be working, not because the regulations are bad, but because our politics is bad and it is deep-rooted. Therefore, focusing on civic education, political education, as many times as possible, let it be a duty for every Kenyan who is informed. Let us continue spreading the message. And having said that also, an idea of scrapping the counties, reducing to whichever number, I know it is a good idea, but it is just a symptom, an attention to assist to a symptom, while the root cause is known. I really urge Kenyans that going forward, let us be intentional, make sure that we do not recycle the leaders that have propagated bad politics in this country. As we say, drain the swamp. Those who've been in political leadership for at least 10 years, let us make sure we don't give them even our ears. Let us make sure that in any election that comes our way, we vote against such people, and let's keep spreading this message. We are going to narrow it down. Myself, we are doing something, and we are going to narrow it down to package it in a way that Kenyans will be able to understand that the root cause is deep and we must take back our country. We must no longer listen to politicians who comes with promises. It is us who should be able to tell them what we want done for us, not them to come tell us what they want to do for us. And after we have told you go and do this, if you don't, we come for you in whichever office that we voted you to be in. So we are reshaping our politics. We will be able to educate Kenyans as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the Tomboya Junior. It was Thomas Gombe. Thank you so much. Can I have Ochi? Ochi, if Ochi is not there, can I have Junior X? You have been here dropping, coming back, dropping, and coming back again. Are you able to speak, Junior X?
Hello. I hope you can be able
Yes,
to
please
hear
proceed.
me. Thank you so much. I've had several speakers today, and in our today's discussion about debt in our Kenyan counties, you can see, you can hear that there's really something that we need to do the governance. One of the things that I want to just emphasize very fast is what we have talked about in terms of reducing the number of counties. When George Bundy, who is the current CS for Treasury, came into the office, he said that this constitution, when it was availed to us, we were supposed to devolve resources, but we ended up devolving what? We ended up developing offices. And this is what is happening right now, that we ended up developing so many offices, so that at the end of the day, what is happening is that instead of devolving resources that goes to do whatever was supposed to be done, what is happening is that a lot of money is going in people's pockets, including offices. And I want to probably make a correction on the issue of reducing counties. The issue of reducing counties is not about reducing the amount of money that goes to the people on the ground. No. The amount of money can continue flowing as the way it is. Let's say, for example, we have 400 billion going to the counties. That money can continue flowing to the counties. But why should we have so many administrative offices? So today we end up having like 30% of that money being spent on those administrative offices. What we need to reduce is that we need to reduce those administrative offices. The issue here is, then we need to interrogate, do we need to have so many of those administrative offices, or we need to have a way of how that money can be channeled from the national government to the respective counties? Somebody has said that we have, we are overrepresented. Yes, we are overrepresented. Why can't we have these assemblies being made with representation of people where they work only on part-time? They have a CEO who is actually appointed. Then the CEO must have certain qualifications, so that now we have a county that is being run like a company. Then the MCAs just work part-time. They act like board of directors. You see, they come once in a month or twice in a week, like that. They sit, they make decisions, and then they go home. So that's what we need to do. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Okay. Thank you so much, Junior X. Let me have Leonard, then data activist will finish for us. Leonard.
Yes, naweza sikia.
Yes, nakusikia.
So hii ile shida tunapitia, si hata venye tunasema tupunguze counties hizi administration, hiyo kitu tukipunguza tutarudi tena pale penye tulikuwa. Ile shida tuko nayo ni watu accountability. Mtu kama tuna sahii watu wengi ukiwaangalia wanaposti Omtata. Mimi natoka Busia. Imagine Busia tuko kwa mpaka. Vile tuko kwa mpaka, zile vitu zinapita hapo zikiingia Uganda, hiyo ni tax inaingia. Uganda natumia vitu mingi sana kutoka Kenya. So ile tax tuna collect, niko sure, ndio sijaangalia lakini niko sure ni mingi. No. So hii pesa wakati Kakamega County inapewa pesa, Busia ipewi pesa, inapewa. Wakati inapewa pesa, hiyo pesa hao watu wanafanya nini? Busia County barabara ya kutoka Kisumu kwenda Uganda, hiyo barabara ukiangalia inakaa ni kama barabara ya mtaa. Sio highway, ile ni highway. Lakini ukiangalia hiyo barabara, gari inakimbia ikiruka. Omtata anapita kwa hiyo barabara, Omtata aongelei, lakini Omtata anakuja kupigana na national government. Lakini kaunti yake ni senator, yeye hiyo ni kazi yake kuangalia huyu governor anafanya kazi. Kama afanyi kazi, siambie MCA huyu mtu wenu afanye kazi, Omtata ashughuli. Lakini bado tunasema tunataka turekebishe, turudishe hizi county zirudi chini. County zikirudi tuseme Busia iungane na Bungoma ama Busia iungane na Kakamega, my friend. Hiyo maendeleo tena hatutaiona. So ile kitu tukangane nayo, tutafute viongozi watatufanyia kazi. Mtu yani unaona mtu anaenda kufanyia kazi, sio mtu alikuwa kwa serikali, hajaikuwa kwa serikali. Ule mtu anaenda kufanyia kazi. Then hii mambo yote, hizi shida zote tunalia, tunashinda tukilia, zote zitakuwa tumesolve. Lakini the moment tunaendelea mtu alikuwa kwa uongozi, mtu ako na 60 years, mtu anafaa pumzike, tunamweka kwa kiti bado afanye nini? Ameretire bado tunamuongeza kazi. Kuna mtu ametoka university, ana kazi, anatafuta kazi, lakini bado tunapea mtu ashasomesha watoto, ashasomesha wajukuu, tunampea kazi ya nini? Mimi hata venye tunaongea hivi. Okay. Thank you. Sawa, asante.
Okay. Asante sana. Data activist, nilikuwa nataka utumalizie hii show leo.
Haya, sawa, asante. When analyzing this work, I have come to realize that every county can manage its own affairs. Nimependa venye one of the speakers amesema venye tunapaswa kuwa na CEO wa county. The counties can collect their own revenue and run their own operations without getting any money from national government. Kumbuka, kuna wale ambao wako wanataka story ya devolution na bado wako serikalini. Nao, in my view, ndio bado they are stifling counties. County kama Turkana kwa mfano is rich in minerals, and yet 93% of the population is poor. Nani wanapora hiyo mali? Wanapata pesa mingi sana Turkana. But is it going back to the people? Yeah? Haya, Nairobi County, kwa nini inapata equalization fund? Hii equalization fund ni ya nini? Because what Nairobi County makes in terms of revenue collection can run the entire county. Haihitaji equalization fund. So kwa nini inapata? Tuende counties kama Kwale, Kilifi, very rich in minerals. The money that is made from those minerals, yeah, can help the county. Lakini hatusikiangi maneno. And this is what the numbers are showing. So in my view, I don't understand why we have an equalization fund, but the idea is counties should be able to run themselves. If they had a CEO, kama venye speaker amesema, and they are run like a business, and that CEO is responsible, na hakikishe kuna KPI, key performance indicators, na nini na sheria inafuatwa and all that, the counties can work. And there's good governance and accountability and transparency. The counties, I believe, can work. Na si lazima zipate pesa kutoka national government. Sababu national government venye ufanya, nasema, sisi tutawapatia pesa, lakini lazima mfanye vitu fulani 2-3. It's like a blackmail kind of thing, which is wrong. No. So that is my submission. Guys need to make their own revenue and run their own affairs, starting with Nairobi, Kiambu, Narok, and so on. That's my submission.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, data activist. And there is a speaker just added, and it's Michael Ouma. I presume he's from Busia County, if I'm not wrong. I'm just guessing. I'm not sure. Michael, can you hear me? Michael? Ouma, Michael.
Tunaelewana? Hello? Mambo?
Yes, poor Michael, vipi?
Poa, salama sana, niko sawa.
Are you from Busia County?
Yeah, mimi ni mzaliwa wa Busia County.
Okay, nimeangalia request zote and I saw wacha nikwambie mbona nimejua you are from Busia. I saw your name was Michael Barasa and also the third name was Ouma, and so it
is Michael Barasa Ouma.
And so I wanted to hear from you because we've been tumekuwa tunasifu Busia County sana. Is everything okay in Busia?
Busia, although mimi ni Busia, natoka Busia lakini niko Nairobi sahi, but natembeanga Busia sana. Tunaelewana? Unanipata?
Yes, nakupata.
Mimi natembeanga Busia sana. I think mnanijua, mimi ndio ule jamaa anaitwa Mike Baraza boda town. Ule nilisaidia ule guy alikipigwa na polisi pale sports club.
Shukran sana. Karibu kwenye
ni mimi. Kama mnakumbuka hiyo ili trend sana kwa TikTok. Ni mimi. Sasa nataka kusema jambo kuhusu my county. County yangu ya Busia, hiyo county na collect revenue kubwa sana. Na saa hii hata ukienda Busia County, kwanza ukienda kama uwanja wa ndege wa Busia County, my friend, tangu ajali patikane ya ndege kule Busia ilikuwa imebeba I think wakina Mathakarua hiyo mwaka. Kama mnaweza mkakumbuka, hakuna kitu kingine inaendelea. Na Busia County ndio zile border tunategemea Kenya. Zinasafirisha vitu mingi, ina collect pesa mingi hii Kenya. Lakini pesa zinapotelea kwa mfuko za watu. Sasa ndio nimeona Busia County sasa my governor Utuma ameanza kujenga tu barabara, na hata si ile barabara ina make sense. Unaona? Ni barabara nyingine ya upuzi. Hii county zetu inafaa tubadilishe management za kuunda. Sasa hata mimi singekuwa hapa Nairobi, ningekuwa nafanyia kazi kwetu. Lakini kwa sababu ya uongozi mbaya, hiyo ndio inafanya kila mtu anafanya nini, unakuja unajaribu kuja kuhustle kwa county nyingine, na county yako pia ni richest. Unaona? Kitu kama kwetu, mimi natoka area za Funyula. Hiyo area bro, kuna mashamba makubwa. Ukiamua tu kuweka hata upande miwa, kwetu tunakuza miwa sana. Tunakuza cassava, miwa, potato, njugu. Unaona?
Hizi njugu zinatoka Nyamakima, hizi zinauzwa Nyamakima ni za huko Busia. Lakini sasa unapata kwamba watu, mimi hata nashindwa hata saa nyingine kuongea bro, kwa sababu zile vitu tunaona hii Kenya yetu, kusema kweli ni vitu zingine za upuzi sana, na ukitaka justice hakuna kitu kingine unaweza kufanyika. Unaona? Haya, kitu ya pili nataka kuongelea huyu jamaa jana alipotea kwa sel Gigiri. Mimi nimewahi kwa sel ya Gigiri my friend. Serikali ajenge kutuchezea saa nyingine vitu zingine. Unatuchukua kama sisi ni mafala sana hii Kenya. Na sisi sio mafala. Sisi sio mafala kabisa. Mtu akuja kuambia kwamba jamaa amepotea kwa sel. Wamepotea aje sel? Tayari ukiingia kwa sel ya Gigiri, hii side nyingine ni nyumba za polisi. Kwa barabara ndo join the Rimuru Road imewekwa perimeter wall. Hii side nyingine ni diplomatic police. Ndipo ufike kwa barabara kuna embassies ziko hapo karibu 8. My friend, kusema kweli, watu walipotea na buda gani? Serikali iache kutupima haki. Isibebe sisi ni mafada. Nimeenda.
Okay. So I think umetuleta a new topic of discussion of which I bring up at 8 p.m. We'll be talking about the that prison break. I think tutakuwa na 1 hour. Wanyama, am I allowed to host that space? So from 8 p.m. guys, today I'll be hosting that space. We want to analyze that prison break. We might be having good actors in Kenya, lakini hawatumii vizuri. We can get revenue from them. Anyway, thank you so much. I was your co-host today on Sauti ya Mwananchi, where Wanyama has been hosting us from 7 a.m. And I don't have much to say. I just want to thank you guys for taking your time to join us. Remember, this space, it always run every day of the week from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the morning here on Wanyama's timeline, and from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. on my timeline every day. So today, nishawapatia hint what we'll be discussing about the prison break. Na Michael ukuje. I think I'll invite you. You must be there. Mtuelezee bana, nyinyi wasa boda boda pia mtuambie mbona watu wanatoroka prison, mnaendesha nduthi hapo nje hamwashiki jamani. We really want to hear from you guys. Thank you so much. I don't have much to say. Back to you, Wanyama.
Thanks, Marvin. And thanks everyone who joins these spaces every day. Langu ni kusema be aware of these terms. Tumetengeneza, tulifanya, tukaweka all those terms. I don't know what else to do apart from we just have to do our best. With the little that we have in our hands, we just have to do our best. On the topic of the day, that in Kenyan counties, I will have to reprimand you guys. Most of us don't really know what is happening, either where we were born or where our loved ones are. Hatujui. That has become apparent in the last 4 hours of the space. So my challenge to you is this: we will keep holding this space about counties now that we have not reached a final point. Yes, kuna wasa wamekuja, some few people wamekuja hapa wanatuambia about their counties. The challenge to you today is this: call your mother, call your brother, call your sister, call your father, call whoever is in your home county and find those things. And those are the ways we are going to highlight all these things. Kwa leo, kuna watu wamejaribu wakakuja kutoa
Wewe Wanyama, tafuta internet, tafuta data boss. Host, we can't hear you. Farah, hebu nipatie signal kama unasikia wanyama. Wanyama, I think we're having internet connections from your side. And personally, let me just end the space. Ukishaona nimemaliza kuplay the national anthem, you can end the space because it might even end before nimalize kucheza that national anthem.
Marvin, can you hear me?
Yes, tunakusikia.
Bana vile nilikuwa nimeyap bana all through. Oh Christ. Where did you lose me?
You said absolutely nothing from the beginning.
It's not absolutely nothing. Okay. Let me put this one clear. Okay, my point is this. Guys, go out and find out what is happening in your home counties. Pigia your mothers, your brothers, etc. Find out what is really happening there. Kesho, we want to keep highlighting this thing, manze. Keep highlighting. Waulize nini wanapitia ground inasema aje. This is the way we will beat these people, by having legit information. On our end, we'll try and analyze better, do better comparisons, etc. Because waseche nisiwadanganya. I've tried passing through the Auditor General's report. Hiyo kitu ni mingi. Ni mingi. Kama ulipwi kufanya hiyo kazi, you need tools as well to analyze those things. Because 47 counties, ukimazana na counties, umangalia the ministries. And then that is only one financial year. Every financial year, the Auditor General does something. And we have to finish that with the Auditor General. You have to compare with the ground as well, because hizi vitu zinaweza kuwa on paper too. So tusaidieni. Try and find out how the counties are doing and get that information kwa watu wenu, wapendwa wenu, your dependents, people you're sending money to or you're not sending money to, but those ones you love back home. Call them, message them, WhatsApp them. Na mkisikia anything worthwhile in these spaces, ladies, mtusaidie, sambaza hizo good news. I was saying to your salon visits, nini, huko ndio umbea inasambazwa bana. Please, keep the conversation going, advise everyone. And to finish, tukutane jioni huko kwa KOT Sonko leo. I feel like tumepiga gumzo sana ya naitwa nini? Naitwa politics. Leo stories za jaba jioni huko about the Gigiri heist. Prison break. But Loki will be speaking about how police cannot be serious at times. Watu, it's just a miracle. Anyway, thanks so much. See you tomorrow morning. Come back with the information about our counties and please request for the mic. There's always an open mic session. To complete our session today, us as Pan-Africans will play some rumba music. This is Mamu by Franco Luambo. Then we will close the space. And not unless, Marvin, you have something to say.
No, I have nothing to say bwana. Nataka kutafuta chai ni kunywe.
Okay. Hata mimi. Franco Luambo. With this.
Just